Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, another trade in the NHL tonight as the Montreal Canadiens have acquired Alexandre Carrier from the Nashville Predators for Justin Barron. Was not expecting this one. We saw the excuse me. We saw the Kako trade go down, the P.O. Joseph trade go down, and now a third trade before the holiday freeze comes in as the Canadiens make a big move with the Nashville Predators, getting the right-handed defenseman that they've been waiting to acquire, trading out Justin Barron, who's a great young defenseman, but wasn't quite finding his footing on a crowded Canadiens blue line, especially on that left side. You got Mailloux coming up. Arbor Jack has a healthy scratch more often than he should be. Jaden Strubl's out there as well. It's a crowded blue line in Montreal. So how do you feel about it? We're talking to the Habs fans out there, especially a lot of Habs fans are in the channel, but also talking about a trade in and of itself with the Predators. Let's start breaking it all down. Who did the Montreal Canadiens acquire? Let's get excited. I'm a Canadiens fan too, so let's start looking at it right here. Alexandre Carrier, un gars de chez nous, as we like to say in Montreal. Alex Carrier, acquired by the Canadiens, is a top four defensive defenseman. This is a top four guy. He's that right side talent. He's that David Savard replacement, at least in terms of ice time, moving into the future. And we think about this, he's been, and Jay Fresh is speaking, I've been a fan for a few years, but he's having a tough season in a difficult role. At his best, he plays an effective, disruptive defensive game despite his small size and contributes a bit offensively. I do like the offensive touch that he brings to his game. So over the last 3 years of weighted average data, he's in the 57th percentile of projected wins above replacement in the National Hockey League for defensemen, just below league average in even strength defense. But yeah, well above, I would say, even strength defense in the 65th percentile. Nothing crazy for goals, 38th for primary assists. That's fine. But he's playing as high levels of competition in the 92nd percentile. He's being put out there for big minutes with other players who are playing big minutes as well. Solid enough on the penalty kill too. And we look at his value in terms of just wins above replacement. It's growing and rising gradually, despite the not so great season on a bad Predators team. It's rising gradually. The defense went down and bounced back. The offense had a huge jump and then has come a little bit more down to earth, which is fine by me. But Carrier, looking at him and his size, he's 5'11". We say his size, but he plays a defensive game for his size. He's not only 6'3" defensemen who are allowed to play defensively. No problem with that. So Carrier, he had that big 30-point season in 21-22, 20 points last year in 23-24. Okay, that's fine with me. He gets a few penalty minutes as well. He plays a physical game, as we just said. If we look at his numbers a bit closer over here, yeah, the guy throws, and in a full season with good ice time, he throws over 130 hits a year, 124 in his rookie season where he finished 10th in Calder voting. He made the all-rookie team as well. He's played big minutes for this Predators team, 21 minutes a night as a rookie, and then the last couple of years between close to 19 minutes and just over 20 minutes per season. Yeah, Landon saying 92nd percentile of competition is nice. Yes, it is. So even this season on a bad Predators team, -14, 7 points, I get it. The Predators are thinking, let's get value for him and bring in a younger piece that better aligns with what we seem to be doing for Nashville. But Carrier, let's not forget that he just signed a nice extension. This is a great contract move as well, not just an acquisition of talent, but an acquisition of someone who's signed on with term. 3.75 million on Carrier for 3 more years, including this one. So up until the end of 2027 on Carrier, on that right side. And on the Canadiens blue line now, if we look on the depth chart for the Canadiens on the right side, that allows you to say Hudson, Matheson, whatever. But Matheson, he's more of a left-sided guy, right? He's left-handed, exactly. If I could put Matheson on the left side, and I have a left of Hudson, Matheson, and Gouli on the left, and then a right of Carrier, Savard, and Struble on the right. I like that a lot more. But even if Matheson stays on the right, Hudson, Matheson on the first pair, Gouli, and then Carrier on the second pair, then that allows Jack Savard on the third pair. And that's even with Struble as seventh defenseman. That's even with still Mailloux in the AHL as well. So it's still a crowded blue line in Montreal, but it's not as bad moving out a left for a right. And also age-wise as well, as Justin Barron just wasn't going to be able to break through in the Canadiens, unfortunately. He's been a great young defenseman, acquired from the Avalanche in the Arturi Lehkonen trade, drafted 25th overall in 2020. He spent almost his entire career with the Canadiens, minus 2 games with Colorado, 109 games played as a Canadian, scoring 31 points in those 109 games. Justin Barron has been solid. Do we see numbers on Justin Barron here from Jay Fresh? I wonder. Do we see numbers on Justin Barron? Yes, we do. Acquired by Nashville, is a developing bottom pairing offensive defenseman with a good shot. So it's tough in a smaller sample size at 22 playing third pair minutes. And we look at the numbers that he's gotten. He's playing an, okay, it's not a crazy small sample size, but it is down from the last couple seasons. Rookie year, 39 games, plays 16 minutes a night. Last year, entrusted for over 18 and a half minutes per night. And now this year, it's just unfortunate, down to 14:43 per night, as the ice time is just, it's still good, but it's just not what it once, or what it was last season. And in those games with that ice time, even strength defense, you got to admit, again, small sample size, but 9th percentile of even strength defense over his time in the NHL so far of 111 games, 84th for goals. So that's definitely an outlier. But I don't know, these numbers don't really speak to me that much. But he is a developing piece. That's the thing. So Nashville gets a good right. Sorry, I was saying Justin Barron was on the left side, but if am I mistaken in saying that he's... Where's Justin Barron? Sorry. Justin Barron. Oh, he is right. Okay, my apologies. I was saying it was clogged up on the left side. My apologies. I just, a lot of Canadiens defensemen getting in my head. But so not just crowded on the left side, but as I said later on, crowded blue line in general. So it moves out one younger piece that is pushing for ice time, and you acquire an established piece. That's what happened here. It's not the left-handed and the right-handedness. It's moving out the developing piece who needs ice time, who you're not really finding his footing. As Eric Engels says, let's see, and obviously hasn't proven overly dependable in his time in Montreal. That's the issue. So you get a more dependable piece, someone who's going to be around for a longer haul. He's 28. He's played top 4 minutes. He's able to do it. And un gars de chez nous, as we always like to say in Montreal. So Carrier, straight up to be acquired for Barron, I think that is a slam dunk W. Big win for Kent Hughes. And I'm not really sure what Barry Trotz is going for here. Is he really committing to say, okay, we're going full on youth? And I don't know, it's still such a hot and cold time for the Nashville Predators. So here on defense, take out, he was already injured anyways, but on the right side, you'll allow Barron to play. Yeah, a lot of breathing room on the right side. Actually, anywhere in Nashville, a lot of breathing room for Justin Barron to play. Meanwhile, in Montreal, it depends on how you move Mike Matheson, but especially maybe Struble comes out, something like that. Struble's been so-so. David Savard, who's going to be an expiring UFA, maybe he doesn't come back, and that's your insurance plan for if he doesn't come back. Now I have him for this season, next season, and the year after that. So I like it a lot for the Montreal Canadiens. Looking at some of the comments that you are leaving out here. Trotz doesn't know what he's committing to either. No, I don't think so, says Walter. Still on the fence regarding Newhook and Doc. Yeah, so am I. I could show you some ugly numbers on Doc, unfortunately. I think I'm more sold on Newhook right now. Doc has that potential, but it's been a tough season for Kirby Doc. But that being said, that's a whole different story. This is what the Canadiens needed for that right side. They needed to pick up that piece for not just a piece, but someone who they can commit to say this is a top 4 guy moving forward. Especially as a French Canadian, I wouldn't be surprised if he signs on long-term after 3 years are up and he's gonna be 31 or whatever. Has Kent Hughes fumbled any trades so far? I'm kind of on the spot now. I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but it's definitely a solid record so far for Kent Hughes. So that's what Eric Engels said. Carrier, he's 28, he shoots right, and he's in year 1 of a 3-year deal with a $3.75 million cap hit. That's digestible money. An obvious need is filled while trading a younger player who hasn't proven overly dependable in his time in Montreal. You can't call it... No, 20. No, he's not a bust. Definitely not a bust. Just not overly dependable. That's what we're saying. So definitely not a bust. Lehkonen trade, maybe. So the Lehkonen trade would have been Lehkonen for what? Barron and a second. That second became... Sorry, let me go down the trade tree here. And that second was traded. The second was... Sorry. Traded with the Islanders for the second. Carter George. Yeah, it was in the Romanov trade, right? No, in the Michael Hage trade. Gotcha. So it was used in that trade later on. So I don't think anyone really thought Artturi Lehkonen was going to be who he was. I think the Toffoli trade is a good example of one that wasn't a dub for Kent Hughes, unfortunately. I'd say Toffoli more than Lehkonen is more of an L, but that's the story for another day. Thank you for sharing that, Sonny. And yes, I agree with you, Jordan. You can't call a 23-year-old a bust, not at all. Just not a lot of room on the blue line for the Canadiens, and he wasn't proving himself to be overly dependable. So the Canadiens say, hey, if we can straight up receive back someone who's more dependable on that right side, then we say thank you very much. So the Canadiens have now done 2 semi-big blue line 1-for-1 trades with the Predators. One much bigger, PK Subban for Shea Weber, and now this one in Justin Barron, for Alexandre Carrier. Very interesting. Welcome to all 56 of you watching on this lovely Wednesday evening. 3 trades in the NHL tonight. Subscribe and hit that bell to be notified whenever breaking news happens. We always go live with the breaking news, instant reaction and analysis, as well as all of our NHL 25 content, franchise mode series, career sims. Check it out if you haven't already. Of course, especially if you're a Canadiens fan, there's a lot of Canadiens content here on the channel. Slafkovsky sim, Reinbacher sim, Hudson sim coming soon, all that good stuff. Sean, welcome to the stream. So just to recap for you, if you're just joining, Alexandre Carrier traded straight up to the Montreal Canadiens in year 1 of a 3-year contract, paying him $3.8 million. He's a top 4 defensive defenseman, and Jay Fresh has liked him for a few years, but he's having a tough year in a difficult role. At his best, he plays an effective, disruptive defensive game, despite his smaller size, but he's 5'11", and contributes a bit offensively as well. So these are numbers right here on Carrier. I like them a lot, especially at $3.75 million. Again, the word I've used a couple times, digestible. Going back to the comments here, I'm seeing a few comments in here. I think as a Habs fan, I think Carrier is way more reliable. And I agree, especially right hand for right hand. I agree on that. Win saying, glad to see Hughes trade Barron. I thought he would not trade him because he paid a lot to get him. I don't mind that if the trade ends up being Arturi Lehkonen in exchange for the pick that was moved in the Michael Hage deal and Alex Carrier. I don't mind that, especially that Lehkonen was not doing what he was doing with the Canadiens. Lehkonen would not be the player that he is today had he not gone to Colorado, right? Sever's saying, I, for one, was one of those who wanted to keep Barron. He had 7 goals in 44 games last year, and now he was barely being played. So I agree that it's not like Barron fell off a cliff. Is that he wasn't being played, and I loved what he showed when he did get time to play. If he's not going to get time to play, then I don't mind the trade at all. But if he wasn't going to get time to play, I would have preferred, with the spot that Canadiens are in, to let him spread his wings a little bit more. But since he wasn't getting that, and we really need to go for reliability and who's going to replace David Savard when his contract expires, I don't mind it. Again, if it was going to be Barron and a second or something, I'd say I'm not liking it as much. But just a straight up swap for a player who's, 6 years older, signed on for 3 years, has been more reliable in terms of what he's shown. I like that. I think this trade accelerates, saying Jacob, I think this trade accelerates the Canadiens' D-core, brings stability, and can play top 4. That's very well said as well, Jacob. It accelerates the Canadiens' defensive core. You still have the Lane Hudson continuing to develop. You have Logan Mailloux continuing to develop. But this is one less guy who's a bit of a question mark. You have your Jack guys, your Strubles, and all that who are a bit more the question marks for the future. Carrier removes the question mark from Barron and is more of a check mark in the top 4, I guess you could call it. Sean likes it. I like the trade both for Carrier and for Barron. Maybe it'll gel better for him in Nashville. Tons of room for him in Nashville. As we were just looking in their depth chart, tons and tons of room on the blue line here in Nashville. Absolutely. Also, I don't see Barron as a part of our future. Hudson, Reinbacher, Goulet, Mailloux, and now maybe Struble, Engstrom. So now instead of that, you would now have Hudson, Reinbacher. We're talking like 5+ years. Goulet, Mailloux on the second pair. And if Carrier, now he's going to be a 34, or maybe not 34, maybe he's like 33-ish by the time that core is there. He'd be a great third pair guy to play with whoever's there, Struble, Engstrom, etc. He can fill that David Savard role in whatever number of years that would be. Yep. Caleb saying this is a classic Data 782 hockey move, quote, hockey move. I love it. That's what we do here in franchise mode on our channel. Lots of breaking news, real world hockey, the fantasy world of hockey. We have a lot of fun on the channel. This would be a great place for you. This trade was broken in our Discord server, over 700 members in there. We're always talking hockey, fantasy sports. If you want a place to talk hockey, especially Canadiens, we need more Canadiens fans in there. Join our Discord server, link in the description. So all that to say, Barron will fit very well, I think, in the Predators core on the blue line. Carrier, while maintaining a busy blue line for the Canadiens, gives stability and allows Savard to walk in free agency, unless I don't know what they're going to do. They always want to take care of les gars de chez nous, right? Of course. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with Savard, but I don't know. I haven't been super impressed with a lot in Montreal on the blue line. Like Struble and Jack had great starts to the season. I think Jack has been good the last month. Struble's kind of fallen off in my opinion. And Savard, he's getting old. He's good, but he's getting old. I don't know if you want to have so much reliance. That's a whole nother video if you start talking about the Canadiens defensive core. So I like a lot. I like what that move does for the blue line of Montreal. Delgado was sent back down, and Yossi and Lozon coming back from injury. That's not room for him, likely AHL. Well, let's see. If we look in Nashville, so Shea Blankenburg, like a guy like Blankenburg or Willsby can come out. Well, we have Yossi and Lozon coming up. I think Barron can still be in the Gravel conversation. If your top pair is Yossi, let's say it's Yossi Shen, your second pair is Lauzon and Blankenberg. That leaves a third pair to be Gravel, Wilsby, and Barron. And I think Barron can get room in there. He would have to go through, if I'm not mistaken, Barron would have to go through waivers, if I'm not mistaken. So I doubt he goes to the AHL. Where is Justin Barron? Can I see this waiver exam? Anything on Puckpedia that would tell me? Maybe I'm staring right at it. Waivers. Waiver eligible. Okay, he is waiver eligible. He is waiver eligible, meaning he must pass through waivers. So yeah, he's not going to go into the AHL. Nashville wouldn't do that. But will he be a healthy scratch? That's a better question. But he wouldn't be sent to the AHL. Maybe more trades tomorrow? Sure, there's already the third trade of today. It feels like the deadline was today, though, with 3 trades happening this evening. Yeah. And yeah, despite, everyone's always 5'11", whatever. Well, 137 blocks last season. Carrier will do, he's, David Savard light. That's what he's going to do right now. If you look at his numbers, 137 blocks last season. And Savard, what kind of numbers does he get per year? 163. So yeah, he's in that same conversation-ish, but with less ice time. So yeah, Carrier can do that. I'm excited for this as for the future of the Montreal Canadiens. I like this for the right now, and I like this for the 3 years from now type of thing as well. I like it. So all I have to say, straight up trade, 1-for-1. I like it for the Montreal Canadiens. Alexandre Carrier, bienvenue mon ami, chez les Canadiens de Montréal, as he's going to be joining the blue line on the right side. First year of a 3-year contract, so that offers great, what's the word I'm looking for? A great continuity. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Just a great guarantee of the money. Like you don't have to have so much AAV up in the air when you know that it's okay. Bang, 3.5 committed for 3 years. That's taken care of. Don't need to worry about extensions, RFA negotiations, whatever. You have him locked in for the next 2.5 seasons. You don't got to worry about it. Barron, he could become something solid in Nashville, in the Nashville Predators Defense Academy. But it is a bit of a gamble for the Predators, and it shows that they seem to be moving down the path of youth. Because Carrier was doing very well. He was doing his thing. He was having a tough year, of course, on a very bad Predators team, or a wishy-washy Predators team, but he was still doing his thing. You know what you're getting for your 3.5 mil, exactly. You know what you're getting. If this is, if it costs if $1 mil less gets me Will Borgen, who we were just talking about before in the Capo Caco trade, I will happily pay 3.75 for Carrier. And great move, hopefully get Matheson back on the left side. I wouldn't even mind Carrier being on the top pair. Give me a top pair of, let's go back here. Give me a top pair. Sorry. Let's go to the depth chart. Give me a top pair of Hudson and Carrier. A second pair of Matheson, or even Goulet and Matheson, depending on what happens there. But if he stays on the left side, Matheson and let's say Savard. A third pair of Goulet and Struble, Jack-I 7th D. Give me that. I wouldn't mind. So Carrier is now here. He's locked into the Canadiens. And if I go to the Predators and refresh here, and go to the depth chart, Barron is now shown already in there. Exactly. Wilsby would be moved out. So Barron would have to go through waivers. He is waiver eligible. So I do not see him being put on waivers. Worst case, he'd be a healthy scratch. But let's see what Marc Dumont says. Acquiring Justin Barron for Lehkonen turned out to be a poor decision by Kent Hughes, but at the very least, the Canadiens GM recognized his mistake and flipped Barron for a more reliable defenseman. Now, I wouldn't call it a mistake. It's just they took a shot in a prospect. He looked good. I wouldn't call it a mistake. He looked good. Just not a lot of room, not super reliable, not given a lot of ice time with so many other players who were pushing for minutes. And then there you go. It didn't work out. Life goes on. Anything else in here? Montreal adds $2.6 million net annual cap hit for this year and next. So now cap situation for the Canadiens, summary-wise. So cap space with the LTIR, they still have $7.5 million, no problem. And Nashville, they're probably swimming in money, right? They have $11 million to play with. So potentially 2 players right there at the deadline for retaining contracts or whatever. Carrier is still in the IR, so we'll see what happens with him. Upper body injury suffered December 7th. That was 11 days ago. We'll see what happens for that. But there you go. What did the Habitant say? We fleeced Columbus in the line A trade because the Barron situation was an L. Well, I wouldn't say it was all an L. Again, I think people are being a bit too harsh on Justin Barron. I know I've been watching the Canes game too. I know he hasn't looked great, but I think we got to remember what he was last year and remember the situation that he's being put in right now, sadly. I do like Matheson acting as Hudson's big bro. I don't mind that either. So if you give me a second pair of Goulet Carrier instead, that's great too. I don't mind it at all. Keeping Savard healthy until the deadline seems key right now. Allowing him to play a couple less minutes won't hurt now that we have Carrier. True. So that allows you to have, forget questioning whether you bring him back, trade him at the deadline and get that, whatever, second round pick. He's skating though, so he's game ready from what I've read. Great. So I'm sure he'll be activated as soon as he is eligible to be activated. So I've said a lot. Sorry to bump the microphone. I've said a lot about a trade that's pretty simple, a 1-for-1 swap. As a Canadiens fan, I'm pretty excited for it. It's too bad about Justin Barron. I'm excited for what he can do in Nashville. I wish him all the best over there. He's shown some good stuff. 7 goals in 48 games last year. In Laval, I don't know if that was great. 11 points in 32 games. I didn't see the numbers on him, but his ice time wasn't consistent. His performances weren't consistent. Carrier is a guy who can play 20 plus minutes, who blocks crazy shots, and who is that stability on the right side that you so desire, that the Canadiens have so desired especially. So thanks everybody for watching. As I always say, subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when we go live with breaking news and NHL trades, as well as our franchise modes, our live stream series, NHL 25, MLB The Show 24, Montreal Expos franchise mode. A lot going on here on the channel to close off 2024. Much more coming your way in 2025. Can't wait to get to it. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And of course, let me know down in the comments, what do you think about this trade for both sides? And join us in the Discord server to talk further about it. We always love talking hockey, and there were over 700 members always talking hockey. We need more Habs fans in there, so join us. Gavin loves the deal for the Habs. They need to take a next step. I like it too. And finally, close off here. Severus says, Barron looked promising the last 2 years. Last season sent to the AHL to bring back Jack-Eye due to the overcrowding of young defensemen, so I can see how it makes sense, but I still liked his shot. I agree. There's nothing, I don't think we can say, oh, the Barron trade was an L. Hughes got what he could. No, I think this is a very good return for a very sticky situation. Kent Hughes played this pretty well. Of course, best case scenario, don't trade Justin Barron. But to be in such a sticky, tight spot, what do we do? And to get this back as the return in a 1-for-1, yeah, I call it a big win. Absolutely. Well done. Playing with the cards dealt to you and getting the best possible result, I think. Thank you, Sean. Good night, Bello. Thank you, everyone. Have yourselves a lovely rest of your Wednesday evening. Hopefully, I won't be live again tonight. We'll try and save some trades for tomorrow, maybe. But we'll be live again if any more trades in the NHL go down of magnitude. P.O. Joseph live stream probably wouldn't have worked out too well. But the Kakko trade earlier, this trade now for Justin Barron. I look forward to the Kovacevic trade. I love Kovacevic. Look forward to our next live stream with all of you in here. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. I look forward to hearing your thoughts down in the comments.